Hello viewers, Super GT here. This is FIA final season in the Manufacturers Cup, and it's here at St Croix, or Sainty Croix as I like to call it. Now this is the grid. We're going to have a look at the grid here. I'm once again with the big boys. You may recognise some of the names. Patome there, very good driver. Well, pretty much everyone in this race is a good driver apart from this guy called F4H Super GT, who's actually full-on noob. So you see Jamie there, Calster, a couple of F4H guys in here. So team orders on offer, and here's me down in 17th, 1.7 seconds off of pole time. Now here's the interesting part of these Group 3 races. Standing starts with a false check. So if you jump the start, you get a penalty. So another opportunity to get a penalty here. 5 lights. Lights out, away we go. Kimi Räikkönen with a poor start as always, but Super GT is going to jump past a big group of people who all get tangled up with each other. I think a couple of people might have jumped. We will have a look later. I've jumped from 17th into 11th. That is a very good start. I will absolutely settle for that right off the bat. Okay, so I'm mixed in with some big names here, big boys, and I'm really going to have to be consistent, not make any mistakes if I want to stand any chance of a good result here. Qualifying 17th, and that I felt like I did a decent lap. So I mean, that's how hard it is now. Now that I'm up to the A+ driver rating, it's never going to be easy to get a good result. So St Croix, this is the B configuration, so slightly shorter. I think this is the shortest one of the 3 on offer, and you may recognise some of the location, as we did a lot of the race on the C circuit, and a lot of it overlaps. So this is the B configuration, a bit shorter though. So you can see at the end of the bridge, 90-degree left-hander. The racing is going to be really close. You can see from the front to the back on the map there is literally no field spread. Everyone is just nose to tail. That is how close this is. Like, you make a mistake and you go down 3-4 positions. It really is that close. Onto the back straight, crucial corner that, as it leads on to probably the longest straight and the best overtaking opportunity on the lap, or the best opportunity to save fuel as well. So we've got a big group of 3 up ahead, while we've got a big group of 20 here buzzing round, and I hit my brake mark of 150 and just send it up the inside. It was not a good move at all. It wasn't clean, but I go from 11th to 8th. We'll see how that one develops. So in practice, hitting the 150 board, and that was perfect for that corner, but I think ideally you need to adapt, and I didn't adapt for that turn there, that time. On lap 1, when it's busy, there's people around, you do need to start braking a tiny bit earlier to sort of allow space for people, and I didn't really do that. Somehow don't get a penalty, but I do get a penalty for that, just cutting the final turn, and in the FIA races, the track limits are very strict. So I'm actually the top F4H driver at this point, which really should not be happening. Maybe a bit of luck off the start and that savage lunge we just saw. And once again, a silly penalty through turn 1, just going all 4 wheels beyond the white line. Now my preparation, my racing driver excuse is this: my preparation was really bad for this race. I did 1 practice race earlier in the day, but I only arrived home about literally 3 minutes before the race began. So I was driving home as quick as I could to get into this race. This was the final split. This was at 10 past 10 at night, the last race on offer. I just about got home, so my practice was really a bit shaky at the beginning. I basically just jumped straight into this race, and it was never going to be easy by doing that. I found myself in 8th after a shaky start, but a very aggressive start, and find myself now into this battle here. So Matthew Collin battling with Tidgeny. So Tidgeny as well, he's a YouTuber. Definitely go and have a look at his channel. He's very, very quick, as you can see, up in 6th place there. I think anyone in this lobby is a good, very good driver. Maybe the exception of me. Well, I mean, I can be quick, but I'm just inconsistent, I think, is the main weakness. So 1 to the right here, into this hairpin once again. So looking for my brake marker, you see I've got a nice big gap up ahead to the guys, and I hit the 150. I braked before, but I was going to go into the back of the Corvette, so I bailed. I bailed right out. I didn't want to hit him. And well, as I'm going slow now, I might as well just serve that penalty, get rid of it. And unfortunately, that drops me right down to 18th, now 19th. We've got F4H, 18, 19, and 20. Really not going very well for us. Rosso in last place there, but that Alpha really not that great on the straight. It's a sitting duck basically. So the remainder of the race, I go past this guy. Later on, Rosso with a nice overtake into that hairpin. One guy spins off there, so we gain a position back. And a bit further round, a lap later, it's going to be a repeat of lap 1. I'm going to go up the inside, it's like a double lunge. This one was a little bit awkward. It was I don't know, I kind of put my car there, and it wasn't clean really, but I got through. And there's a guy spinning as well. This guy goes into the pit lane, so I go up into 14th momentarily. On the exit of the pit lane though, at the end of lap 5, I go into 15th place, and that was pretty much my race. This is lap 9 though, you see one person there spinning out. So up into 14th with a bit of a penalty. Rosso was behind me, hunting me down, so there was always a threat of losing one more position, but I just about keep it over the line, getting rid of that penalty. So a really shaky race. Lots of mistakes being made, aggressive moves which weren't quite warranted, and you're probably wondering why I finished this race so quick. The reason was the second half of that race was very, very dull. It was kind of just bringing it home. So what I wanted to do was look at the perspective of a load of other drivers. This was a top lobby, so it's always good to analyse and have a look at what the other people are doing. Well, this is the result here. So we're going to have a look at what some of these other guys did during their races. Okay, so these are the two people I wanted to look at first. Got Jay Adams and Patome here, 4th and 5th. And the lights, well, they've gone and no one else has gone. And presumably they've got a big penalty for that, I don't know how big. And they're going to have a slow right down carnage there, as these two guys couldn't quite work out what was happening. So Adams and Patome from 4th and 5th down to 18th and 19th. Let's see what this guy can do as he tries to recover. I mean, that's a massive blow. I mean, I made some mistakes in my race, but I don't think any as big as that. Just going off early at the start, and you're going from the front of the pack all the way to the back instantly. You're going to lose so much time because of that. So he's already gained 1 over Calster. I do apologise for all the black lines on the screen, but that's just the way the replays are. He's actually lost that position back to Calster now. So you see just how close it is to the pack. Patome there battling. So a bit further round, things are getting really cosy. Rosso, Animal, and the Russian here. Calster just ahead. Into the hairpin. Goes up the inside, gains about 3 positions. Is he going to gain 1 on Calster? The Russian sliding. So he's just about going to get that position on Calster. Going to go around the outside. And just, is he quite going to take 14th? I don't think he will because he's a left-hander now. So very close fighting here. So he's done quite well. He's recovered from 18th to 15th in the first lap. So out of the final turn, behind the Slovakian, I said Russian, he's Slovakian. Down the main straight into the slipstream. Guy goes defensive into turn 1. Then is he going to fight this one around the outside? He is. Just receives a bit of a tap, unsettles the car, and he's round. Oh, that's an absolute disaster. Down to 18th, down to 19th. Calster lets him go. So Calster felt as though he was at fault for that one. It was tough. It was tough to call. So you see how the pack is still really close. This is lap 3, and even though this guy had a really bad start, he's had a spin. Oh, you can see they went for the guy, just ghosted momentarily. He went to go through him, and then it didn't quite work. And then he backs off. So he gains another position. The Russian ahead, the Slovakian, ahead, slow, and down towards the bridge. Is he going to go for the move? Not quite there. But then on the bridge, does eventually look up the inside. Adams, I mean, he should be quicker. He is the 5th qualified, did qualify quite high up. So then he's up into 14th now. On the last lap though, the Greek guy getting a poor run onto the back straight, so he's going to be a sitting duck now. Hirakram does go through. Adams is going to look to go through as well, goes defensive. He's going to get the car pack going across the grass almost. So in 10th now, sitting in 10th, so it's a decent recovery at this point here into the, I call it the hairpin, but it's not really a hairpin, it's just like a 90-degree corner. So not long left to go for this guy's race. He's done well. Alonen's already coming around the final corner at this point. So it's two French guys, first and second, they've done very well. So very close finish here. We don't know who's got a penalty. I don't think the penalties show up in the replay, so we can't see. We will see in a moment who's going to slow down. Coming through the final turn, Greek guy gets a bit slow through the apex. They both move over, I think they've got penalties. So there we go, just slows down. They're all going to slow down. Greek guy finishes 8th. Adams finishes 9th. That's a good recovery, because going from 5th right to the back, that could, that's going to be tough to take, but then go back up to 9th. So decent recovery. Let's quickly look at Batome's race, because he had a weird one. He just like Adams, pulled off way too soon, and it triggers this carnage with Calster. As these two guys. So he goes down all the way to 19th. So a very similar story, I think, to Adams. So into turn 1, this is the beginning of lap 2. Up the inside of Animal from a long way back, makes it work, a big lunge. So some carnage, that's where Adams goes round, and Calster slows down, so he gains 2 positions out of that. So here he is, lap number 3 now, behind his teammate, McGrady. Looking up the inside, gets the job done. The Aston Martin is good in the straight line. Almost so far that he goes into the side of MX Steve here. That's kind of what I was doing, carrying loads of speed into the corner, but it's risky because you really do run the risk of hitting the guy ahead of you. Eventually into turn 1, looks like he's going to go for the move. He went for the savage lunge last time around. Breaking on the 100 board, he's got himself alongside, just to back his 2 wheels within the limits. And he's up to 11th, so decent recovery. So this is the end of lap 5, so they're going to go into the pit lane here. You can see he's got himself onto the back of this group, which Adams got himself onto towards the end of the race. And on the exit of the pit lane, still in 10th, but really part of this battle now, actually displacing Hero Crown there. You see Adams just a little bit further back, so he's had a slightly slower recovery with that spin, but done well to get to where he is. And Batome now is going to look to get through this fight. So Batome, he qualified 4th, so he's definitely got the pace to be up there towards the sharper end. I think this is where it's going to kick off. This corner here coming up, this is where it really all gets triggered so much. McGrady's still ahead of him here. Up the inside of Gatos, Jamie there as well. It all sort of goes into a concertina effect, everything triggers itself. And is he going to get through just ahead of McGrady? Yes he is. Oh my god, so much fighting involved. Gatos trying to come back now. And he's just going to sweep around the outside, lots of contact between the group. Jamie's just going to get a bit of a buffer there, get a gap. He's looking up the inside, that's a nice move into the final turn. He's going to get up into 8th place here as Batome. Gatos tries to fight it, it's not going to happen though. At the end of lap number 6 there, 4 laps left to go. So coming through here, onto the bridge, and he's going to gain a place. Ketong Axel with a mistake. Let's see what happened to him. So he's just coming down onto the bridge. He's a little bit off this battle at the front for 3rd. Just runs really wide, goes off onto straight into the barrier. That does narrow up there quite a lot, and it's painful losing that many positions that much time. And he's lost like 7 positions. Meanwhile here, Batome trying to catch up with Jamie. He's pretty much done it now. He's in slipstream range. Still got the group behind, fairly close. And he's going to go for the move. He's going to look for the outside. And he's going to go off onto the grass, hit the barrier. Oh god, what the hell happened there? That was a really strange little collision with the wall. Kind of threw him across the circuit. So he was looking good to go up into 6th place. And he makes the mistake. Goes a little bit wide. There's me coming through. There's Super GT. That's where I gained a position towards the end of the race for free. So Batome there, really disappointing. 2 big incidents. The start and then that one there. It felt a little bit weird they tried to go around the outside instead of sort of cutting back to go for the inside. So in the end here, Batome coming through to finish 16th. Started 4th, so obviously a bad result for him. So let's have a look at now Tidgney. So another YouTuber, very fast driver. Qualifying 7th, you see Batome there and Adams, who we've just looked at, both launching too early. So he gains those positions. Also gains on Colin, who also didn't get a good start. So up to 4th from 7th, that's a very solid return. And you can't really expect to gain too many positions when you're up at the sharp end. So he'll more than settle for that. So we've got Oscaro in the lead, Alonen second there in the Nissan, and Kubaton in the Aston Martin. Tishny here driving the Peugeot RCZ. So at the end of lap 1, or coming to the end of the bridge at lap 1, look for that 150 board, there it is, and it just gets a concertina effect again, bunches up. Matthew Collins is going to go through, just about gets ahead. He's going to have to go in sort of with an awkward narrow line. Is he going to pay for that on the exit? So he gets on the throttle, good exit, but he can't get into that train, he can't get into the slipstream, so Marcola there is going to get a better run. Gatos goes flying through. I presume that the RCZ here doesn't have good straight line speed, so he needs to be in that slipstream, but he just couldn't quite get it. So down to 7th, which is back to where he started, and then up the inside of Gatos into this one. This is the corner where it all this is where it all kicks off really. Doesn't quite make the move work. Alonen up into the lead. A very close battle. Very close battle. You see a big group developing here, big group developing back there where I'm at the front of that group just behind. So very close fighting between the pack here. Gatos getting a poor run for that corner. And Matthew Collins just ahead, battling for second with Alonen. Gets it done. And let's see how that one plays out. So Alonen here, Matthew Collins just ahead. So Collins has done a good job there. He was down to 5th, now up to 2nd. Goes a little deep, and he was going to go into the back of Oscaro. So he just has to go wide to bail out. And Tishny doesn't quite make the most of that, but a couple of other drivers do. So Matthew Collins doing the right thing there. I think he could have gone right to the back of Oscaro because of his mistake by braking too late, but just bails out completely, loses a bit of time, loses a couple of positions. So it's interesting here looking at everyone's races. Everyone's got an interesting race to look at. There's a lot going on. So onto the back straight, you see just how close it is. Gatos in 5th, Tidge here in 6th, Colin there 7th, and I'm just behind in 8th. This is where it's going to go wrong for me, as I almost go into the back of Gatos. So Tishny here looking for the move, not got my straight line speed. Colin's got the best straight line speed. He's got the inside line though, as Tidge. Is he going to keep it? There's me going wide just behind. Colin's going to go through, gaining 2 positions, and Gatos is going to sweep around the outside. So you can see here again, as I said earlier, the fighting lets the guys ahead get away. So Marcola there in 4th, the gap to 5th maybe a second or a second and a half. So that fighting really not helping these guys. So this is lap number 4 now. Matthew Collins just making a mistake, going wide onto the grass, and he spins out actually, he spins out from that. So he's going to lose out massively from that. And now Tishny's kind of got free rein to try to get onto the back of this leading group of 4. So you see, as I said earlier, the race kind of formed itself into a couple of groups. And you see here by the end of lap 5, he's put the work in. Again, probably by a lot of fighting, you see, because the leaders got away. So I think this group here, 2nd to 4th, has started fighting. Tishny's managed to get himself onto the back of it. Will he be able to do anything better on the exit of the pit lane? On the way out, he's lost a little bit, couldn't fuel save quite as much, so he's lost maybe a second there. And we saw Karting Axel just behind, so he actually crashed on the bridge. We saw that a moment ago. So again here, you can see Tishny's gone to the back of Kubaton, and I feel that their battling has again let Marcola ahead get away. So you see the group that was 1st to 4th has just massively opened up because of this fighting. So Tishny now onto the back, and could get 4th. Marcola ahead, getting a slide on, couldn't quite, almost span out because of that. Just about keeps it under control, as you probably expect from these top drivers at the front here. The guys behind are miles behind. Jamie's a long way back, or at least a couple of seconds to see there, just going over the crest. So 1 lap left to go. Tishny versus Kubaton. He's got the cutback on him. That's a really nice move. You'll see the difference though between the 2 cars. Down the straight, the Aston Martin should be quicker. You see he's just slightly pulling away, not much though. He's got a nose alongside. Is he going to go for the move? Yes, he is. Up the inside, bit of contact, but will the Aston Martin be able to fight back? It will. You see the acceleration there, mid-range, and the Aston Martin really good. And he should have the inside line for this corner here. Bears to the right, but then he's got the left-hander. Tishny, yes, sort of sensibly bails out, doesn't really want to fight that one around the outside. So he's really close here on the back straight. Is he going to be able to go for that move? He's going to look for it before the kink, which can be dangerous. Cuperton very, very aware though, gives him the space, doesn't cut across him. You see again the Aston Martin just pulling away momentarily. Tishney looking for the move. Is he quite going to make it work? Couldn't quite run him out because he was alongside the whole time. So good respect between these two guys. Fighting hard, giving each other space though. You know, not running each other off the side of the track. So good stuff from the two of them. So not long left to go. Cuba not the best exits, and Tishney here finding himself on the wrong side probably. Cuberton should be able to defend this one into the final corner. He might be able to get a cut back though. Is it quite going to happen? Very close. Tishney gave him a really good fight. He's going to finish in 5th. So a good race from Tishney. Solid 7th to 5th. Let's have a look at the race winner. So he's full revs off the line. Traction control as well, we can see there with the flashing red bar. Doesn't actually get a good launch. The Lexus there, Oscaro, jumping through up into 1st place. So not an ideal start to lose your lead, and actually runs a little bit wide there. So Cupid Tom with a hint of oversteer is just going to go alongside. I think Alonen here should be able to just about keep the position as he winds around. So this kind of shows you this is what's possible with this car. This is the car I was driving. So tucking into that slipstream once again, trying to really pull away as best you can. If you can break the toe of the guys behind, then that really helps, because they can't fuel save off of you anymore. They can't gain time down the straights off of you anymore, and that really is a big advantage in this game. So you see there once again, guys bottled up into that corner, constituting an effect. That's where Tishney lost out. So that's unfortunate for him, because it wasn't really. It was kind of just one of those weird racing incidents. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you don't. The pack really close behind, but you see what happened. We saw what happened before. Matthew Collin a little bit late on the brakes, almost goes into the back of Oscaro, has to bail out. So Alonen gets the position back. So I think by this point here, it's lap 4 now, and Alonen's kind of sat this distance behind for the first couple of laps. Oscaro with a poor exit just grinds the barrier. I think Alonen was fairly content just to sit behind and fuel save. That's a common technique, a common strategy, just to sit behind, fuel save, jump him in the pit lane. But he's going to jump him here as he gets a poor run. The grid beginning to sort of spread out a little bit, not much though. You see just how close it is in these races at the front. You know, just one mistake or one little defensive block, and that can really set you apart from someone else as the gaps begin to open. So this is where I think Alonen really wins this race. You see Cuberton looking at the back of Oscaro, and I think this is sort of where the race was won for Alonen. So coming down here, you see the gap opening up. They're beginning to fight behind, and the gap opening up even more. Cuberton now up into 2nd. So those three are fighting. You see just how much this gap has opened up on this lap number 5. A crucial lap as well, because they're going to go into the pit lane at the end of this lap. So that gap opening up to maybe a 2nd or 2 at a crucial moment, crucial time. So that really, I think, won the race for Alonen. So by lap 7, you see that gap really open up now as they begin to fight way too much, and that was pretty much race over. And then of course by the end you see the gap quite big there, and he quite easily comes through to win. Jamie, F4H member, off the line. How is his launch going to go? So he wasn't using TCS. Bit of carnage. Actually, something I do want to look at. We will come back to Jamie. I want to see what happened here, because it was quite interesting. So he's going to go full rev, so we've got a bit of TCS as well. And there we are. Okay, so John Adams slowing down for the penalty because he launched too early. McGrady couldn't see in time whether he was going to ghost out or not. And at the last second he did ghost out, so it would have been okay to go through him. But he didn't know that. Grady has to turn right. Calster's into the back of him, and it all gets a bit awkward. We can see that again. So Patome up ahead launches too early. McGrady, just watch McGrady ahead. Doesn't know, and he has to swerve last second. Doesn't know whether Adams is going to ghost out. He does, but there's no way he could have known that late. Let's look at Jamie's race then. It's off the line with a bit of traction control as well. I think that's the way to go. So there's Adams, who gains 2 positions there out of that. And I drove this car last time for the Nations Cup, and it's a good car in this class. And Gatong Axel there around the outside, kind of an aggressive move into the back of Gatos, so he's kind of made it work. Hiracan with a poor exit, so Jamie gains that 9th position back. So now tucked into the back of Gatong Axel, He's going to go up the inside. He's driving the Mazda. Gets the job done. You see just how cosy it is up ahead, so I'm presuming that Jamie's going to gain on that big battle. He's a little bit behind here at Graham. This is actually, no, this is where I go for this ridiculous lunge. Out of nowhere. You see, I'm on the inside. It wasn't too bad, I suppose. It was just a bit strong on here at Graham. Jamie does come back to 9th, but I go from 11th to 8th. Quite a savage move. So now Jamie's going to follow me for a little bit until I crash about a lap later. So at this point here, I'm kind of holding my own. See the big body roll there of the Nissan GT-R really showing its weight through that fast sweeping section. And this is unfortunately this is where my race completely unravels. I was in a really good position here. Really good position. I could have finished top 10 if not for this very silly move here, as I braked where I kind of felt I should, and it was just, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't have been too bad to go into the back of it. I just felt guilty of making that move on lap 1 and then doing it again there. So I bailed out. Maybe it was the wrong thing to do. Maybe I could have just hit the Greek. I don't think it would have lost out too much. I don't think it would have been as big as I thought. But then again, as I said, my preparation was bad, so I wasn't thinking quite as well as I probably should have done. But anyway, Jamie up into 8th as a result of all that. And this is where we get the formation of the two groups. So the top 4 beginning to pull away, and then we've got 5th to 8th with a little bit of a gap back to Hero Crown behind. So Matthew Collin here, kind of going defensive a little bit of fighting between him and Tidgeny. That's what developed that gap between the top 4 and the next 4. And that's all it takes really. Once that gap's formed, it's very difficult to get that gap back unless the top guys start fighting again. So Tidgeny did well to bridge that gap later in the race. So this is where we see the mistake of Matthew Collin, running slightly wide. Jamie almost follows him. He's going to come across, just about goes out in time. So Jamie having a good race here, up in 7th from 11th, and this is where he gets past Gatos. You see Tidgeny kind of got away, and that is now bridging that gap to 3rd, 4th, and 2nd. So Jamie here up the insides of the Corvette. Kind of the move was done in about 4 stages there, but he gets it done eventually up into 6th place. So hopefully now we can sort of begin to pull away from Gatos and maybe get into the toe of Tidgeny. So unfortunately for Jamie here, actually loses a position, or loses 2 positions by the end of the pit stops. And Jamie now seems to have found himself a little bit further back, so his pit stop wasn't very good. Really lost a lot of time and put himself into this battle here. So up the inside of Gatos, the guys behind very close, Patone coming back through, McGrady's up the inside here. So we see sort of this double toe effect. McGrady up the inside, Jamie going to sweep around the outside to keep 7th. And look how close it is. They're going to start fighting. This is crucial here. So they're all going to start fighting with each other, pushing each other slightly wide for this fast sweeping section. You see the gap opening up, and now I would say already Gatos isn't within slipstream range, so that fighting is crucial, as now Jamie has a bit of breathing space and can pull away and sort of chase after the pack, although that is a big gap now up into 6th place. So this is Jamie's point of view, lap 8, when he gets past Axel, who makes that really silly mistake into the side of the wall. So it wasn't all over there though. Patone coming through. That's where Patone goes wide, smashes into the wall. A double VP attack though from McGrady, looking around the outside and can't quite get the job done. This is lap number 9 now. So actually McGrady on this last lap, kind of with a poor lap, doesn't really keep up with Jamie at all. So I think Jamie should be comfortable. He does get very close. You see just how powerful that Nissan GT-R is. Battle slightly behind between Gatos and who's that, Hero Graham at the end of the top 10 with Adams as well. We saw Adams' race as it was very close between those 3. But there we go, coming across the line to finish 6th. A good result, top F4H driver, and he did well to finish from his starting grid of 11th. But there we go guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video as always. Do let me know your thoughts. I thought it'd be nice just to kind of go through and analyse the races of other people, which can be very interesting, you know, because everyone has their own sort of story to tell in the race. Whereas my race wasn't completely interesting, made a fair few mistakes, and the second half kind of fizzled out. So it's worth kind of looking at the way that other people go about their racing, and you know these are good drivers, so it's always good to see what they're doing and what I can learn from the way that they're driving. But do let me know your thoughts as always, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're new and haven't subscribed, then consider hitting the subscribe button, and obviously if you did enjoy, hit the like button. I shall see you next time. Thank you very much for watching as always, guys. Goodbye.
Listen.